In an experimental research, IB must be given at least two possible values in every experiment, and these values are called levels of independent variable. Example class, ang IB ko ay chocolates. Gusto kong malaman kung ano kayang klaseng chocolate ang mas magbibigay ng energy sa mga athletes. Ang mga binigay ko sa kanila ay white chocolate, dark chocolate, and chocolate with nuts. So itong mga ito ang ating levels of IB. Ang dependent variable naman, it is the variable that we measure. It is also an indicator of change in behavior, and its values are assumed to depend on the values of independent variable. Sa example natin, ang ating dependent variable ay ang energy ng athletes. Nakadepende ang energy ng athletes sa iba't ibang klase ng chocolates na ibibigay natin sa kanila. Thus, we must also define our IV and DV, and we should define them in two definitions: conceptual definition and operational definition. When we say conceptual definition, you will just tell your readers what the concept of your variable means. Usually, ang conceptual ay definition ng variable mo na nanggagaling sa dictionary. And when we say operational definition, it specifies the precise meaning of a variable within an experiment. Ito ay kung paano mo ginagamit or paano mo minimeasure yung variable mo mismo. For example, our study is to identify the effect of classical music to the memorization among preschoolers. Now, let's first start the conceptual definition of classical music. So, this is the definition of classical music. Ano naman ang operational definition niya? Well, paano ba natin siya ginamit sa ating experiment? For example, nagpatugtog ako ng Beethoven sa classroom ng mga preschoolers habang sila ay nagme-memorize. So, ang operational definition ko ay classical music is Beethoven music played inside the classroom because yun ang pagkakagamit mo sa kanya. So how about ang ating DB? So the conceptual definition of memorization is the process of committing something to memory. That is from the dictionary. Ang operational definition naman natin ay number of scores obtained in IRT test or a memorization test. Dahil doon ko mineasure ang memorization nila, kung ilan ang tama nilang score sa test na yon. Okay, so why do we need this? First of all, ito ay para sa mga readers nyo, para mas maintindihan nila yung study nyo, and para sa mga gustong i-replicate ang inyong study. Now, class, lagi nating tandaan sa ating experimental study, we must be aware of the reliability and validity. Yan din ang dapat natin laging tandaan sa pag-construct ng mga test na nagme-measure ng dependent variable natin. So ano ba ang reliability? Reliability means consistency of a research study or measuring test. Kapag sinabi natin na mataas ang reliability ng ating test, tungkol sa pag-measure ng memorization, ang dapat na mangyari ay if a person takes the test again, he or she will get a similar test score sa unang niyang try. Now, in terms of study, masasabi natin na mataas ang reliability ng study natin kapag our study produces similar results under consistent conditions. For example, sa study natin tungkol sa effect of classical music to the memorization among preschoolers, kunwari ang result natin ay mas mataas ang memorization ng preschoolers nung nakikinig sila ng classical music. And kapag may nag-adapt ng study natin under the same condition and population, dapat parehas kayo na makukuha na result. And kapag parehas ang result nyo, you may now say na mataas ang reliability ng study mo. So, paano naman natin mapapataas ang ating reliability? Now, here are 4 common ways of measuring reliability: inter-rater, test-retest, inter-item, and parallel or alternate form reliability. Now, let's talk about inter-rater reliability. It is the extent to which 2 or more raters or observers, coders, examiners, agree. For example, sa medical field, gusto mong malaman kung ano ang sakit mo, so nagpa-check up ka sa isang psychiatrist, and you were diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Hindi ka pa nakontento and pumunta ka ulit sa another psychiatrist, and same din sila ng diagnosis. And you were still not contented at pumunta ka pa sa ibang bansa para magpatingin, and you are still diagnosed with OCD. So it just means na mataas ang reliability na ikaw ay may OCD. Same din sa study mo. You are going to ask for opinions of other people na knowledgeable sa study mo. For example, sa test na kinoconstruct mo tungkol sa anxiety level, Nagpa-check ka sa mga professionals in that field. And then nagtanong ka if ano-ano kaya sa list ng questionnaires mo ang magandang ilagay sa mismong test. So kung ano man ang madalas nilang tsinekan na magandang ilagay sa test, ito ay may mataas na reliability. Next, we have test-retest reliability. This can be checked by comparing scores of people who have been measured twice with the same instrument. So, yung mga participants mo, ipagtatest mo sila ng 2 beses. Pero yung pangalawang beses, dapat ay may time interval. Like 1 week after. And then, ibibigay mo ulit yung test na yon. And kapag nakakuha sila ng same result tulad ng dati, it means mataas ang reliability ng test mo. Next, we have interim reliability. It is the extent to which different parts of the questionnaire, test, or other instruments designed to assess the same variable if it will attain a consistent result. There are actually two major approaches to evaluating interim reliability. We have split half reliability and internal consistency. Split half reliability involves splitting the test into two halves at random and computing a coefficient or reliability between the scores obtained on two halves. So, ang gagawin natin ay yung test natin, i-divide natin siya into two halves. And dapat random yung mga items na mapapapunta sa dalawang test. Kapag papasagutan natin yung first half sa participants natin, and then we will gather their score, and then after, papasagutan naman natin sa kanila yung second half, and then we'll see if parehas ang score na makukuha nila. And if parehas, then that would mean mataas ang kanilang reliability. And then, the second approach evaluates the internal consistency of the entire set of items using statistical tests such as Cronbach alpha. And it is like measuring split half reliability for all possible ways a test could be split into halves. Now we are done with reliability. Let's now move on to validity. Validity is the extent to which a measurement tool measures what it is supposed to measure. For example, gusto mong i-measure ang temperature mo because you're feeling sick. So you get a thermometer to see kung ano ang temperature mo. And when you look at it, umabot ng 50 degrees Celsius ang temperature mo. Hindi ka naman si James Reid para maging ganun ka-hot. But bakit ganun kataas? So you found out na ang minimeasure pala ng thermometer na ginagamit mo ay hindi ang katawan mo but yung temperature ng room mo. So we can say that your thermometer has a low validity because it does not measure what it's supposed to measure. Now, sa pag-construct ng test, kapag ikaw ay gumawa ng, let's say, intelligence test, dapat ay mame-measure ng test mo ang intelligence ng participant mo. Now, paano natin make sure na mataas ang validity ng gagawin nating test? Okay, so we have 5 types of validity: phased, content, construct, predictive, and concurrent validity. So,